how can we help young adults navigate the big questions in life? This is such a beautiful question to try to weigh in on. I don't want to say give an answer, because in fact, my answer is to not give an answer. I'm just feeling into the beauty and the curiosity and the mind expanding process that's happening when a young adult comes to someone maybe they look up to or is in their care and starts asking these big questions. And it feels really almost sacred, as if it's like an invitation to be part of something beautiful and yet not try to create some outcome. So in a way, we are being asked to add some sort of imprint to these questions, and yet we want to be mindful about not necessarily closing anything off. So I have this sort of saying, I like to say anti-suppression, meaning like free flow of energy. And so if I plant a tree in the ground, I don't want to start messing with the limbs thinking I know what way that tree should grow. I almost want to just ensure that that tree is getting adequate water, tending to the soil and sunlight. And then I let that tree grow into what that tree is supposed to be. What is that essence of that tree? And similar to this, I would say, when a young adult is coming to someone and asking them these big questions, it's almost feels like a duty that we don't mess with those branches too much. We can offer our own experiences. We can share stories. I think stories are a beautiful way of helping kids see what was resonant to us. But I really feel like the key here is that we keep their minds open. I've heard it said that we sort of go in 7-year developmental cycles earlier in life. And when you get to about 13, 14, that's when the mind starts to come in more. And the mind is able to think and reason a little bit better. A lot of that, though, is due to the stresses of being that age, right? All of a sudden, grades are more important, trying to be cool, trying to fit in. Maybe parents are putting more pressure on you. There may be more rules. So there's a lot of sort of cognitive development at this age. And if we lean too much into giving specific answers to children when they ask these questions, we might tend to sort of concretize their left brain, meaning that they're going to be looking for answers to every question, as opposed to keeping these questions alive for however long they need to be alive for, sometimes all of life. And I would say the main thing that we could do to help these young adults is actually ponder some of these questions ourselves. Ask ourselves what the meaning of life is, or why do these people look at this religion? What do I feel about that? And stay curious, though, right? I think we tend to sort of think we have our way of being and this is our answer. And that's fine and well. And if we could sort of stay open, I think that's what we want for children at this age. There's definitely been studies done where creativity peaks in the teenage years. And unfortunately, our school systems don't really lend itself to branching that part of the tree off, because it doesn't seem to be of import in our society as much as we'd like. But this is an age where things like fantasy and mystical sort of ideas can really start to take root. This was something I was never shown and was never encouraged to do. And now at 44, I'm starting to look at them even more, because I'm finding them to be really fascinating and really cool ways that bring something out in me. It definitely helps that I have a 3-year-old boy that I get to read sort of more magical and fantasy type stories. And so I think it's a critical age to just really like keep the mind open and stay creative. And so to be in that process with the young adult, and that's the key word to me, like with them. So it's not like they're coming to me and I say, this is the answer, son. There you go, move on. It's more like I'm saying, wow, that's really cool that you're asking that. Here's a story about what I maybe learned or think about. What do you feel? Not necessarily what you think. What do you feel? Is there like, why is this curious to you? What's coming up as you ask that? And so a lot of good healers and spiritual teachers will often just rephrase the question back to you when you ask it. And I think that is actually very important, but almost, I want to say, honoring uniqueness in individuals is, rather than giving them answers, encourage them to find the answers within themselves.